Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is software testing in agile methodology. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Sumit Tongia, Test Lead at Inito Technologies India Private Limited. Sumit Tongia is currently working as a Test Lead for Inito Technologies India Private Limited. He has 8+ years of experience in software testing, more precisely in manual, automated, integration and security testing. Mr. Tongia has hands-on experience in testing healthcare domain, web-based applications domain, banking domain and reporting domain. He has extensive experience in managing enterprise IT project lifecycle through all the phases. Mr. Sumit has expert knowledge on database and web-based applications testing. He is well acquainted with software development lifecycle and has extensive experience in black box, integration, regression testing, and system testing. Tongia has also hands-on experience working with functional test automation, that is QTP, and is comfortable with Test Director, Jira, defect management, and iTrack as bug tracking tool. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Sumit.
Yeah, hello everyone. I will be just sharing my screen to you. So today I will be presenting you the software testing in agile methodology, and as we all know, it is a very important thing when we are talking about agile, because in agile we have lots of things to cover, but as we have 1.5 hours, so I will try to cover most of the things which are actually very important and which are running in the various top grade MNCs and the IT companies which we are using right now. So as of now, if you can see my screen, these are the contents of the presentation. So first of all, we'll start with the overview of agility. Then we'll start with Agile Principles and testing. Then we'll talk about two views of Agile testing, whether it is extreme and exploratory. There would be another view which is related to the Agile. I will explain that, and I will also explain which are the challenges which we face when we are talking about the Agile testing. And finally, we are talking about the testing life cycles which we use in the Agile methodology. So first of all, what is Agile testing? As you all can see, this is the diagram in which I have explained what is Agile testing. In this Agile testing, I will try to explain through the diagram. So you can see that what is Agile testing is in the middle, and we can see the values and the core values which are around it. So first of all, in the top you can see it is a whole team approach. The overview, or you can say the main motive of working in Agile is the team approach. So if you are working in Agile environment, it is very important that all the teams which are working should be very closely bounded, communicating with each other, and there are various other things which we are covering right now. So in the Agile, we can work as a traditional team, we can work in Agile teams. There are some differences between the Agile and the traditional team. A little context, it is a role-based activity. So in the Agile methodology, the role which is mapped to everyone, it is very, very important. So
Mr. Sumit, I would like to...
team, you have to distribute the team.
Mr. Sumit, I would like to interrupt you. Your screen is stuck on the second page, that is the contents page. Have you opened that slide only?
No, I am on the third page right now.
We can only see your second slide, but
I don't know. Means I am on the what is Agile testing page number 3.
no, it's stuck on the third slide. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making you the presenter again, and then you need to share your screen again.
No problem, I will do that.
Mr. Sumit, have you logged out? Hello?
No,
No, but
no.
I can see in my control
In
panel
on
that
my
you're
screen,
offline. I can see that you're offline. Can you please check your connections? I can see that you're not logged in. You need to check your
no. I
connections.
can see on my webinar. I can see that I am on air showing screen,
No, but
and
um,
I'm connected. Yes.
I guess you need to connect again because I can see that you are offline here.
How it is possible? I am connected to, and there is something which is coming on my screen connecting to audio. What it is? I don't know.
Connecting to
There is
audio,
some audio
you're
to.
you're already connected to audio through the phone. So that would say that, but we are not connected to your video. So I guess you need to log in again.
So I will just click on the link again.
Yeah, you need to close this and you need to click on the link again.
Yeah, I will do that. I think there is some problem with my connection. Just give me a minute. I will just fix that. It was working fine. I don't know what happened. कैसे हो गया? I don't know. I'm just restarting. वो क्या डायरेक्ट फोन पे करना हो तो कैसे करना?
Hi everyone, this is the TechGig moderator, and I would like to inform you that there's some technical issue at Mr. Sumit's end, so he's getting it fixed within 2 minutes, and we'll start the webinar after 2 to 3 minutes. I would like to inform you all that Mr. Sumit's office network went off due to some reason, and he's trying to connect in through some another network, and he would be joining us within a few minutes. Mr. Sumit, have you connected in through the phone?
Can you share my screen? Yes, I connected. I am connected. Hello everyone. I think I had some technical difficulty, and because of that, my whole company internet connection had some problem. So that's why I'm sorry for that. Let me start all over again. Today I will be presenting software testing in Agile methodology. And as I said, that the Agile methodology is one of the most important methodology in the software testing right now, because it is rapid, it is quick, and it is a team-based. And with this, we are actually helping customers as well as quickly building good software and delivering with the best quality possible. So these are the contents. If you can see my second page, so these are the contents which I will be covering in this presentation right now. It is the overview of agility, the agile principles and testing, two views of agile testing, whether it is extreme or exploratory. There would be a third view also which I will be explaining, and the challenges of the agile testing. And finally, I will be covering the test life cycle which we use in the agile methodology. So these are the topics. First of all, I will start with what is agile testing. So this is the diagram which can very clearly explain what is agile testing all about. First of all, it has values as any other methodology have. So it also have some values, some core values. The other most important thing which I have mentioned is whole team approach. So this is one of the most important points whenever we are talking about agile. You need to always understand that the agile methodology will only be successful if you are working in a team, and the coordination between teams should be very good. And there are different ways of creating a team, whether it can be a traditional teams in which every team or a group is working on a different task, and after the completion of task they are just providing their status in the type of mail or something. It may be working in the agile team in which all the teams are working together and sharing their status on a daily basis, which we call scrums. So we have a daily scrum. It is not necessary that the agile team would be sitting together at one place. The agile teams can be sit at a different location and sharing their ideas through on a phone or maybe on a video conference or whatever. But it is important in agile that you must be talking daily to each other and tell the status. What it actually does, that if you are talking about things which are working right now, it gives others the idea what you are working on, and also you get the solution of your problem very quickly. So it is not necessary that you should do a scrum daily. It can be done twice in a week. It depends upon your frequency, but it is very important that you should talk to everyone and tell the status. And the person who is responsible for all these scrum is called the Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master is the person who will actually gather all the people in a meeting and actually ask for the status from everyone, and he will actually assign the tip. For example, if I say that, okay, this is the problem I'm having, so he will actually advise me to whom I can contact. Normally a project manager would be a Scrum Master in different projects, you can say. Also, a little context about the role and the activities. These are also very important. In the agile team, it is very important that you assign role with different people. For example, as I said, Scrum Master. So it is also a role which has been assigned to a person who is actually responsible for a team gathering at one place and sharing their ideas, thoughts, problems, and whatever you have. It may be that a customer also can be part of Scrum, or business analyst can be a part of the Scrum, so that he can actually understand what we have understood from his business requirements, the technical guide, and how the developers are working and approaching on it, whether they are going in right direction. So if they are going in a wrong direction, he can stop them right away, so that the cost and the time would be saved for the team and the company. So this is the you can say, brief description in the terms of diagram of what is Agile testing all about. So this is more, you can say, typical definition of Agile testing. The word Agile itself goes with the meaning move quickly. So the testing in Agile, no conventional testing practices, test practices are applicable to wait until the entire development cycle activities are completed. So this is also a very important point, that in this Agile methodology, you don't have to wait for the developers to complete their task and then you will start your testing activity just like in waterfall model. It is necessary that you start as soon as the developers start, as the business requirements get reached. We should start working on the test case creation as soon as the developers are starting working on development. So what it do that before the development gets done, we have already our test cases, test data, as well as we get our test case reviewed, and before the test case execution, everything is ready in front of us. We can also spend some time in preparing test environment if there is specific requirement for the test environments. And the second point, Agile testing has been an evolving methodology. We have been seeing over the past few years the popularity of methodology has been accredited to several reasons, as the product development lifecycle go-to-market are shrinking in the light of ever-changing business dynamics. So these two are the most important things which I have mentioned: the product development lifecycle and go-to-market cycle. These two cycles, if reducing, then it's always a profit to the company. So you should always try to work on these two cycles. If you reduce these two cycles, then there is always a profit for everyone. And if there is a profit for everyone, it is good for the people who are doing that. So Agile is the methodology is the only one who is actually shrinking both of these cycles, and by a good margin. The third definition, Agile testing process when implemented correctly and adequately has lots of benefits to offer. In turn, customer will appreciate and result for update and react quickly to any potential problem. As I said that in a team, we are talking in the team and we are talking to each other. We are sharing our problems, the client, the customers, the business guys, the technical guys, all are sitting at the one place or are sharing their thoughts. So this will actually quickly, we are able to quickly react to any potential problem which may come in the future. And this will actually deliver high quality software in a very short duration of time. So the crux of all the definition is the Agile, as the word indicates, we are actually doing something fast with a good quality. And for that, it is very important that we should identify the potential problems which can occur in the future, or we can do the task quickly before the problem appears. Now I will more, in terms of testing, I will explain the role and the activities in the Agile team. So as you can see, I have actually made 3 circles which says what is the interaction of each role among the 3 different, you can say, person who are actually working in a team. So a programmer actually programs. He also gives some information to the tester. A domain guy who writes, or a business guy who actually writes the business or the functional requirements, and it also gives job transfer to the tester. So testing is one of the most important part of the Agile team, because a tester is the person who is actually in interaction with both the guys, because he has to understand the business requirement correctly, then talk to the programmer that he is actually making the right thing, and then verify that okay, he made the right thing what he or the business guys are specified for. So tester is always a very, very important person in the Agile methodology or in the Agile team. There is an Agile Manifesto also. Individuals and interaction over processes and tools. So this is the very important thing which I was always talking in the whole webinar, that the individual and the interaction is very, very important. So communication is one of the major role of the Agile methodology. It is very, very important that you speak up about your problems as quickly as possible and get it resolved as quickly as possible. In Agile methodology, we more emphasis on working software over comprehensive documentation. So it is very, very important that we focus more on the good quality of the software as a tester rather than just writing documents about how exactly it works and whatever the other things like help documents and other things which can help us normally. But we should not spend too much time on writing documents and something. We should more focus on working software, whether the software which we are delivering is consists of all the business requirements, fulfill all the business requirements, and it is working correctly. So that is very important. And customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So it is also, I have explained that we also collaborate with the customer whenever we are working, we are actually building the software or we are testing the software. So we will get in touch with them more frequently rather than just talking about the contract that okay, we have all done, now this is your software and our contract is over. And in the last, maybe customer will say, okay, this is not the thing which I wanted. I have said some different things, and you have already made the software completely, or maybe in some other words. It is responding to the change over following a plan. So this is also one of the most important things because we are not documenting anything. So it may happen that there are something changes which can come very frequently. We cannot plan things. Okay, so automation is a very, very important candidate in this. So we have to make sure that okay, whatever we are automating is completely fully functional and it is working properly and it has a very rare possibility of change. But in Agile methodology, you cannot promise anything because we have to work on changes and it can happen at any point of time. So you cannot plan for it. Now, these are some Agile principles. Satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of the valuable software. So this is also important. Working software is the primary measure of progress. This I already told. Deliver working software frequently from the couple of weeks to the couple of months. So this is also an Agile principle that okay, deliver working software frequently from couple of weeks to the couple of months. So in the Agile methodology, we are actually working in a different sprint rather than working on releases. So we take the small bunch of features which we include in the sprint, which we at the start of the sprint we actually plan the sprint. What exactly needs to be covered in this? For example, if you are using a tool called TFS, which is the Team Foundation Server, which is the Visual Studio integration tool. So that is a fully functional tool to be used for the Agile methodology. It is from Microsoft, and it also has a tool called Test Manager, which is specifically for the testing. So in that, whenever you plan for the sprint, you create the user stories, which is also called requirements in the base doc. Whenever any business guy is coming and saying, okay, you have to make this feature for us. So that feature is a user story for us. And we can break one feature into multiple user stories and which we can cover in different sprints. So at the start of the sprint, we actually plan the sprint. We break them into the different user story. A user story is actually break into different tasks if multiple users are working on it. And that task is assigned to different developer or testers. And when those tasks are completed, that are closed, and at the end of the sprint, which is oftenly as mentioned, it can be a couple of weeks or maybe a month. It should be short because you should be able to collaborate what exactly you have done in the sprint. And at the end of the sprint, we actually do sprint retrospective. That means that what exactly we have done well or as a team, and in that case also in a meeting everyone sits and gives their ideas. So it is not only the project manager or the test manager or dev lead or dev manager who actually sits there and gives their ideas. It is the whole team who shares their inputs. So what went well, what can be improved, and what doesn't went well, and how we can improve on those things. So these ideas are taken after each sprint, so that we are actually, if we are making any mistake within team or we are not following certain principles or maybe process, then these things can be covered very, very quickly in one sprint. As I said, becoming change requirement even late in the development, this is a main goal, or you can say principle of Agile, that you should always ready for the changes. You cannot stuck and cannot say that okay, this was promised, because it is a go-to. We are shrinking the go-to-market cycle. So if anything changes in the market, we have to be very, very quick to deliver something which is actually required in the market right now. And we should be the first, so that our software will be famous, or you can say we will be able to sell our software more. So this is the main principle of Agile. The most efficient and the effective method of conveying information within the development team is face-to-face conversation. As I told, the Agile terminology for this is Scrum, in which we are doing face-to-face conversation. So don't consider that face-to-face conversation is actually sitting in front of you and talking to each other. It can be, the motive behind this is to share your ideas, thoughts, or problems, or maybe process. So the idea behind it is to share all the information. So this can be done over phone or any other communication device which you can use in the company. So it is not that important that you should only use face-to-face conversation. Business people and the developer must work together daily throughout the project. That is also very important, that, and tester also play a very important role here, that as I showed in the diagram, the tester is actually interacting with both developer and the business guys to understand the requirements, and the developers are developing the right requirements, talking to them before it comes to him for test. He is already prepared and he knows the functionality or the functional, how exactly this is going to be work. Simplicity, yes, it is very important that you have to be simple in terms of, you don't have to make Agile. If you make anything complex, then it is not Agile. You have to be simple. You don't have to follow too much of process. You have to be simple. You have to be straight. Okay, we have to do this amount of work. To maximize the amount of work we can do in a day, in a limited hours which we stay in the office. So it should be simple. As I said in the contents, I was talking about the two view of the Agile testing. This is extreme testing, in which we actually focus on automated verification of enabling the Agile software development. So this is actually majorly done by the developers. So automated unit test cases, for example, if you are working on as I said, VSTS 2010, Visual Studio Team Foundation Server. So in that, we have a Microsoft unit test framework in which you can write unit test cases and you can actually test it. So this can be done by writing the code. So in that case, the developers are writing the test cases. They actually test the first development. That means as soon as the code is ready, they just write the unit test, and there's a bunch of test cases which are actually run before creating the build which they deliver to the testers. It can be done twice, thrice, or maybe daily, nightly automated version. Through the Visual Studio, there is an automatic build which can be created at the end of each day. You can set the time, and all the change sets which are actually there in the result state can be integrated in a build, and that will be created automatically with the timestamp. So, and the thing which I am talking about, daily build, it should only be created if all the unit test cases which are written for all the features of the development should be 100% passed. So these are the unit automation test cases which actually run in a symmetric order, and it actually checks the software functionality for some specific things that it should not break. If you want to do the comparison of unit testing somehow with the testing, you cannot say these two things are similar, but if you want to just say compare, it can be kind of a sanity test which they are doing on the software, okay, whether it is working correctly or not. And the other part is functional testing. Yes, we do as a tester. Normally, automation testing is also done by the testers, but this is I was talking about the automated unit testing, which is mainly done by the developers only. And the functional side, customer owned, it can be done at the customer wish, what exactly he wants. He wants us to just to act like as a customer and just do whatever main functionality a customer will be doing on this software. So we will be only looking the major areas which are used most frequently, and we will be looking at the areas which are used less frequently. That will be the priority of testing and functional side. Then the comprehensive, yeah, as the name suggests, it should be repeatable. Yes, it is very important. Automatic, just timely and public. These are all the functional testing which we should do in the Agile. So these are very, very important. Another is exploratory testing. So as I said, extreme testing is actually more focused on the automated part. So how you can actually make the things automated. Automatically building the builds at the end of the day. Automatically create the creation of unit test cases which are actually automatically verifying whether the build is actually a good build or not. In terms of developer, you can say it's a green build or not, and some other things. So it is majorly, you can say, go towards the automated part. And the exploratory testing, which is another view, it actually focuses on the manual validation. So it actually focuses on the test activities more agile. How exactly you actually make the test activities more agile. So manual testing by professional skill testers, which there should always be a freedom, flexibility, and the fun for testers. This is very, very important, which I actually follow in my own testing, that whenever I am working, I have a freedom. I should have a freedom that exactly what I am doing. I should not be scared of doing something. Oh, if I do something, do this, then these tables will be deleted. Oh, that will be a problem. If I delete these test data, the whole development will be affected. So you should not be scared of anything. And then flexible, yes, you have to be flexible enough. And fun, that is also a very important thing when you're actually working in office. Controllability, reliability, and high quality for managers. Optimize to find bugs. Continuous adjusting plans, refocusing on the most promising risk areas. Following hunches. Minimizing time spent on documentation. So these are the main things which actually include in the exploratory testing when you are actually working in Agile. So these things, if you follow, you will actually make your test activities more agile. So this is a quick comparison of traditional versus Agile testing. I think the above one is a kind of a waterfall model in which the requirement comes, then it converts the specification, then the developer writes the code, then the tester do testing, and then it goes to release when the testers say okay. But there is no backwards here, so it only goes in the one direction. That is why it is called waterfall. The other is Agile. So it is iterative and incremental. So these the iteration which you can see in the below, IT0, IT1, IT2, IT3, IT4. These iterations are the sprints which we are doing. So it is not necessary that for in the iteration 1 or in the sprint 0, you are actually collecting the business requirements. So you have not collected any piece of code or you have not developed anything. However, in the iteration 1, you have collected or made the 2 features which are A and B which are not connected. Then you develop C in 2, and then D in 3, and then E, F, C in 4. So the collection of this iteration can be converted into a release. If we also included G in that, then it will be a complete feature, or you can say we can complete the user story or a feature in that, and this can be converted into a release. So you can see these blocks A, B. You can name them as either feature or a story or a user story, whatever. It depends on you. If you are talking about Visual Studio, TFS, Team Foundation Server, we call it user story. So each story is expanded, coded and tested. So it is not necessary that, okay, we are not waiting for the developer to develop the integration code and we are not doing testing. It is not happening. As soon as we complete A, we start testing on that. So it may include that we have to create some test stub or test drivers, but that doesn't mean that we should stop with that. And this is how actually the team comes help, because in the test, as soon as he says, okay, I'm done with A, so as a tester standing there, say, okay, you are done, let me give it, I will start testing. Then you will find, okay, I do not have the resources to test this. Okay, then in another Scrum, you are actually talking to them, okay, we do not have the resources to do this, please let me know how exactly we can create a test stub or test driver for it. So these are the things which happens in the Agile. It can we can have a possible release after each iteration. It depends, but we can have a multiple iterations, multiple sprints for a single release. So we are at slide number 11, challenges for testing in Agile software development. So we have lots of challenges you can see. What information in the testing based on what to test and what are the expected results. So yes, this is a challenge because we are working in Agile methodology. Things are at a very fast pace. So sometimes it has become difficult for a tester if multiple things are coming to him that, okay, what to test and what are the expected results for this. I do not know. I do not understand. So it is a challenge. Yes, how to make testing, development and business collaborative. As I said, Agile is all about teamwork. So it depends that it depends on you that how actually you are actually communicating or how collaborative you are, how you are communicating your ideas or questions to the person, other member in the team who may be in the same geographical location or maybe somewhere else. So he may be, is he understanding your question correctly, because you may be working in a different time zone. So for the half day, he may be not in the office or you may not be in the office. So it is very important that you are making a process that you are communicating your ideas and you are not having any downtime just specifically because you don't have any answers for your particular query. So that is not at all a principle of Agile, and you should always find a solution. Okay, if there is something geographical difference or a time zone difference, then we should make a process that, okay, if I'm going home, then I will be writing all the questions, because when I am going home, he will, at any point of time, whenever you guys meet, you should always resolve all your problems at one go. And obviously, how to involve customer and business people in testing. As we know, business people are always working on multiple projects and they are not easy to catch, especially from the tester's point of view. So yes, it is a challenge that how exactly you are actually making the customers involved in what exactly you are doing, how exactly you are actually contacting them, how exactly you are understanding things from them, and same for the business people. The other challenge is, how do we know where we are? This is the most important challenge we have in Agile methodology, because we are working on short releases, on user stories. It may happen that all the user stories you have tested is working correctly, and when the integration comes and integration happens, then you doesn't know, okay, maybe some piece of code or maybe something is not developed, and because of that the whole software is not working. So it is also a challenge that you should always know that where we are. So this is why the sprint retrospective and the sprint planning will come into picture, because at that time you actually ask everyone, okay, do we know that where we are and where we are heading to? So the answer to this is, working software is the primary measure of progress in any Agile methodology. You always see the progress not by the count of user story you have done. No, it is important that you should count your success only whether the software is successful or not. And yes, testing, it is quality. Testing is the measure to provide quality. We do that, and yes, it is one of the measures. And as a tester, the last line goes from me: if it is not tested, it doesn't exist. I always say that if something is not tested, I never think that it got developed. So it should never go in the integration or anywhere if it is not tested. And the last, which is a very primary challenge, which happens every time with the developer tester ratio we always have a less tester as compared to the developer. So how to keep up with the pace of the development? Yes. How to produce and communicate relevant information promptly? As I said, communication, yes, at the different geographical location to the different guys, business, customers, developers. So lots of people are there. How to test early but not to do anticipatory test design. It is also a challenge. Okay, we do not know what exactly is going to come. It may changes because Agile is a methodology in which changes occur very fast. So it may happen based on a feature you create 50 test design, and then it happens that okay, the feature has got completely changed. Then you have to again rework on those 50 test cases, but that is a part of Agile, so you cannot, because it is more important that we should cope up with the changes which are coming. So this is Agile development and testing services. It is important to understand the challenge of Agile practices. Hard to solve even within the one company. Yes, it is important. It may differ from different companies, so you cannot say what exactly is going to happen and what things we should cover. If an Agile company wishes to use testing services, for load stress compatibility or any kind of testing, it might be confronted with a big problem. Yes, this can happen. The company which provide testing services, that could be a problem for them. Arranging collaboration, yes, it is very important. Service provider ability to respond to change and to adapting the pace, which we have discussed in the last slide as well. And the challenges of testing in Agile development has to be solved. As I said, that as we are working in a different user stories and the developers are working at the path-based, so it may happen that as a software tester in Agile methodology, you don't have to just execute the test cases which are already written. You should always have to look, okay, what are the requirements and whether all the business requirements have been covered or not. So it is very, very important, and for that maybe you have to do multiple meetings or communicate with the different guys to understand the feature completely and make sure that okay, if a guy has said, a business analyst has said, okay, these 4 menus has to be added to a certain place. So all the 4 menus should be added. What should be the context in that menu? What exactly things we do? It should be left line, right line, it should be center line, it should be drop down, it should be which kind of menu it is, and the color combination, the text which is used. It should be symmetric, whether the first letter should be capped or not. So there are lots of things which needs to be understood from a tester point of view, and developers should only understand, okay, I need to create four menu kind of. So these things have to be done. Very, very important. So these are my last 2 slides. Questions and answer, and thank you. Lastly, I just want to say one thing, that whenever you are actually using the tool called Test Manager or the BSTS or the TFS, in that the complete Agile methodology lifecycle can be done. So it is a very good tool to use. So we create the user stories, you assign the user stories to the people, then we create a task for it, and we also assign the remaining hours for that. So there is a point which was there, that how exactly we can understand that where we are. And at the time I said that that's why we do sprint planning and sprint retrospective. So with every user story and task, there is an option in which in the sprint planning meeting you actually allocate the number of hours assigned to him. And every time in the Scrum meeting, you actually burn down the hours. That means that you actually write how many hours you have already completed and how many are remaining. So in the planning, it may happen that you have actually estimated wrong number of hours, maybe less, maybe more. So this can be corrected with a different iteration. So at a point of time, you will understand, okay, if I'm estimating 16 hours for something, and daily if I'm burning it down, maybe I'm working 4 hours for a certain feature. So maybe in the 4 days, you will be able to cover it. So in that manner, you can actually keep a track of progress in the Agile methodology through this tool. Then button in chart, which actually shows the total number of hours, and as soon as you complete it, it goes down, down, down. So this is the way it happens. Now I will take questions. I will start with any specific suggestion in case of performance testing in Agile methodology. Yes, as I've said all the time that performance testing is not very much different than manual testing or automation testing. We are doing that, and you have to work in the team. You have to collaborate with the different team members, and you have to understand which tools to be used. All the requirements need to be understood correctly, and in the different iterations you have to work. As soon as the one iteration is ready, you can do the performance test on the different modules. If you can do that, if it is a web application, you can do that, and just share the test performance results with the people, maybe. So this is, as I would say, for me, it should be very much similar to what we are doing for black box testing or the automation testing. I'm sorry, I do not understand this question from Sneha, but this can increase the timeline of estimated time. It is not, is it not? I don't know what she was talking about. Can a tester do automation testing? Yes, yes, yes. We are using and we are doing that in our project, and it can be done, and it is very, very successful because we are working in the iterations. You do not have lots of things to automate, so you automate things directly, and it is very much functional. Yeah, there is a possibility of change, but as things are not coming in the whole package, so you have time to actually change the things. Do you mean by various iteration as a single release? Yes, iteration is something, it is not a release. As I said, the iteration can be compared, if you're talking about Agile methodology, iteration can be compared as sprints. So sprints is something in which we are working right. For 2 weeks, I have decided to catch up with 4 user stories. But yes, there is always a release which can be the collection of iterations or sprints. Do we have risk and mitigation analysis in Agile? No, we don't do that. But yes, in the Scrums, we actually talk about the risk. So Scrum is the risk and the mitigation analysis which we do. So whatever we are working on, we talk about that in the Scrum within the team, with the developers, testers, and all the people. And there we actually talk about the risk, and we will get the mitigation as soon as possible. So nothing is documented, but yes, we do that in the times of in the Scrum. Do we need any documentation while doing Agile testing? No, we do not. In Agile testing, documentation is not required. It is something team efforts in which team is communicating to each other. It is not like that you have to perform certain action, so you need a mail for it. It is not something. If somebody just say you start working on it, you have to do it because it is fast-paced and you should not bother about the documentation part. How effective is Agile methodology when comes for SCR testing? I do not understand this SCR word. If you can repose the question with little bit full form for this. How effective is performance testing with Agile as the functionality development is incremental? Yes, I just answered this a little bit while ago. That was my first question. Yes, it is incremental, but it can be done as we are testing with the help of tester and driver. The same can be done with the performance, because you are actually evaluating the performance of the module anyhow. So you have to react, for example, if you are testing certain services and how quickly it responds, that you doesn't need a client application to do a performance test. You will directly hit the server and you see the response results. So I don't think that, I think that this is a way it can be done very effectively. How is estimation done in Agile methodology? Yes, I said that in this, as we work in different iterations of the sprints, so in the sprint start, we do the sprint planning meeting in which we are actually taking the user story, we dividing the features into the different user stories, and then we are doing estimation based on the user story which I told in terms of work, how many hours we have to work on this to complete it, and it has the column for completed and the remaining work. Microsoft Test Manager is not a Scrum tool. Actually, Scrum is something in which all the people are actually sitting together and talking. And Microsoft Test Manager is a test management tool in which you can design, create a bug. You can do complete test management. Test case design, test execution, bug creation, and all those things. So it is a typical test management tool. If any changes comes in the last build, then what will we do? Then would we have to do complete regression in Agile testing? This is a very interesting question. Yes, this happens that there are lots of changes, as we know that changes which comes in the last build, maybe the integration build, which is directly coming. And yes, whenever we are releasing it to live, we have to do the regression testing anyhow. Yes, there are certain changes which are coming even after we have completed the regression, and if any changes are again coming, then okay, we will actually look at the changes and we will actually check the impacted areas of that change, which can be even evaluated by sitting with the developer or some other guys who actually which are the impacted areas with this change. So we mainly focus on only those test cases which actually impacting this area. And yes, we will do a sanity as well, so that any specific critical error doesn't come up because of these changes in any other module. It is not necessary that in each iteration we test the code. So this is white box testing. Is there anything for the black box testing? If not, when black box testing starts? No, I mean to say we are testing the code. That is actually the unit test which developers do. We are not testing the code. Developer will always deliver the feature to us. We may have a product in which a certain feature which is going to integrate. So it may happen that whenever feature is delivered to us, it is not necessary it should be complete, but whatever feature is given to us, it should be there. For example, a feature is something like deliver 4 menu items, and it should be under the menu file. So it is not necessary that they should deliver all the 4 items to us. It may happen that okay, he deliver menu 1 and give it to us, and we can do the black box testing. So it is not necessary that it is a white box testing and it is a black box testing, but we can do black box testing. Is there any free tool to implement Agile model? Yes, there are lots of tools which are available in the market, which are free open source tools which can be used. These are in that case you can make an Agile board. It's called a Scrum board, and in that Scrum board you have a different task attached to that board, and that has different status. There are 3 sections of that board. The first section says not done, second says in progress, and third says completed. So whenever sprint starts, you always tag all the user story tasks in that tag, and whenever any developer starts, he writes his name and just move the tag to in progress. and whenever it is done, it shows to it change goes to completed. So it is called Agile Scrum Board. If you search for it, you will find lots of tools. Yes, what you said, it seems to be an answer to me. Use of Agile testing in service-based companies and product-based companies. Yes, this is a methodology which can be implemented at any company, whether it may be service-based or a product-based. So it can be developed anywhere. The main motto is to build things quickly, and go-to-market cycle should be reduced. I think for automation, the question, I will repeat the question. What are the open source free tools which can be used for automation testing of web application which is going to develop by Agile model? What I quickly remember, the best tool which I've got is the Selenium tool, which is a free open source tool which is available. It is a very, very good tool and very powerful tool which comes in both remote control and IDE. So it can be record and play also, and you can write code as well. And the most, it is that flexible that you can write your code in multiple languages. And it has different server for every. There are lots of multiple languages which are supported in that tool. So for me, if you want to recommend me, I will recommend Selenium. Yes, it is the best tool which I have seen. What are the major drawbacks of Agile testing? Yes, I said whatever I mentioned in the challenges part is answer to this question. Yes, there are drawbacks. That the changes are frequent. Lots of you create 50 test cases based on some feature, then it may happen that a feature gets changed, or maybe it gets stopped because it is no longer required. Go to market cycle maybe more, so they can stop it. So there may be a rework. Sometimes it happens. So this is a drawback. There are lots of other drawbacks also. What is continuous delivery of valuable software? I do not understand your question, but if it is related to continuous integration, then it is something like that. Yes, continuous integration is very, very, if I understand you correctly, if you say continuous delivery, I am talking about continuous integration. So yes, continuous integration is very, very important, and it helps you to understand things more, because lots of bunch of work is not coming to you completely, and you will get a chance to work on a multiple things for a shorter period of time. That will always add values to yourself as a tester. You should not be, for example, I have seen in certain companies that testers work on the same module for maybe 2 years, 3 years. So it may happen that they will get bored, or maybe they will miss something which is not there just because they are not actually fully concentrating on the few things, just because they are doing the same things again and again. So as soon as we get the new things, we get the fresh up, and the new things, it is always good to learn. What is public in testing of on slide 8? Okay. This is the part of the functional testing which I said public. That means that you are actually taking views from the customer, comprehensive. It can be functional testing, can be public also. Can't be, which we call beta test, if you remember. Whenever Yahoo releases a new feature, it just tags beta to it. That means they ask the people, the users, to test it. So that is mean by that. What is the Scrum methods? Is it developer only sparing some time for testing? Scrum is a word in which all the team, not developer or tester, everybody is actually coming and gathering and speaking about what they are doing. So I will not say it is a method. It is just kind of a process of Agile in which actually everybody is standing, rather than just doing long meetings. Scrum would be always very short. in which I'm very collaborative, in which everybody is helping others. And if I got something knowledgeable, for example, if I went to someone and I said, okay, this is the thing which is going to come, so I would be sharing that thought in the Scrum. So everybody in the team should have the same knowledge, maybe at the same platform. So it is not anything like developer sharing. There are lots of things in which developers should also gain knowledge from the testers, because they are the ones who are actually evaluating the software, the quality of the software. So even they should know that, for example, certain feature is not actually good, or maybe what is the reason behind it, and what are the bugs we have found, what are the modules in which things are not good. So lots of things are there. What is the difference between agile and incremental model? Incremental model is waterfall model, and agile model, as I told you, what it is the presentation. So I have given one slide also, shown one slide, which shows what is the difference between traditional and agile versus agile testing. So this is something, and if you mean to say incremental, this one, so yes, agile is an incremental testing. We include in that. That is a very good question. What is the work backlog in agile methodology, Scrum? Whenever we actually move from one sprint to another, for example, in this sprint, I have estimated, okay, I will be doing 5 user stories and 60 hours of work. But somehow I was able to complete only 4 stories, in which my 60 hours of work is already gone. So my 1 user story will be moving to the next sprint, in which we are planning. So this work which I have not done in the one sprint will move over to another sprint. So for that sprint, for the sprint 2, what is work coming from the sprint 1 is the work backlog, especially for me. So I will always complete my backlog first, then I will move over to the new task whenever I'm moving to the new sprint. I have answered this already. I think Selenium is the best tool to use, and it is very good tool. Test retrospective is just similar to the sprint retrospective. In the sprint retrospective, we actually, as a team, we sit together and talk about, okay, what doesn't went well and how we can improve on things. In the same manner, after each sprint, we do that. And test review is the process of test life cycle. So it is not related to agile somehow, but whenever you create the test cases, it should get reviewed. So as soon as design comes, we start doing test cases, test case creation. And as soon as test case creation is done, then we do the test case review for those, if we are talking about the same test review. So, and retrospective, yes, at the end of the sprint, the test team will sit together and talk about how exactly we can improve or enhance our efforts through test. I think I have answered all the questions. And if anybody has any other question, let me know. I will answer that. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for attending my webinar. I am available at the tech gig. My profile is there. So if you have any other questions, do not hesitate to mail me or just send me the message. I will be responding and I will be happy to help. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Well, thanks Mr. Sumit for your session on software testing in Agile methodology. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for the support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgeek.com by tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.